Hey guys, today I'm working on a 2004 Boxster S, and as you can see, it's black and it's causing a few issues. And as you can tell from the title, we're gonna be talking about how to polish paint with just water and a polishing pad. In this case, it's a yellow Rupes pad. So that and a lot more, you gotta watch this one. Coming up on this episode of Ride Along. Before we talk about how I figured out this paint, I want to talk about why the customer came in and then walk through the steps or the mistakes that I made, and hopefully something can be learned from it. But the customer came in and showed me that he had gotten it detailed elsewhere, a dealership, wherever, and there was a detailer signature in it. That's another fancy word for calling having swirls or holograms in it. And I posted something on Instagram, so I'll send up a picture there, and you can see it was all over the car. So I said, okay, no problem. I've done 1,000 of these. It's a black car, it's a Porsche, great. Obviously, I'm at Speed Sport Tuning where I'm always at, and it's full of Porsches, so I do Porsches all day long. No sweat. So the first thing I go to is my microfiber cutting pad with D300. And it did what it was supposed to do, which was level the paint. And when I tell you level the paint, it took it down. Any scratches, any swirls, any hazing, it went right down, and it had its normal sort of white haziness, which is what you're supposed to see. It was a little bit more heavy than normal, so I said, okay, this might be soft paint, so let's not judge anything quite yet. Then I went to the yellow Meguiar's foam pad with 205, and it made it much better, but clearly after doing that, I immediately knew, okay, this paint is really soft. So we're going to go in this next little pattern that we'll do. And again, I'm going to describe it, and then I'll slow down and show you what I did on the other side. So what happened was when I figure out the paint is super soft, I am going to take a bottle, a spray bottle, and it's got a 16-ounce bottle. I'll put that much water on, a few ounces, 4 or 5 ounces, and then I'll squirt 2 or 3 or 4 big squirts of 205 into that water and shake it up. So now I'm lubricating the paint with a mixture of polish and water. Now, as I did that, I realized it still was too much polish and not enough water, meaning this is still so soft. And I also figured out that when I wiped it, as soon as I wiped it, I scratched it. So I was dealing with extremely soft paint. So what I did is lowered the ratio of polish to water. And as I kept going through those steps, meaning I threw out the bottle, and I did it again. I filled up with 5 ounces of water and 2 squirts of polish. I did it again. Man, it still didn't work. And this is the quintessence of staying clean. So I had to clean the pad every single time to keep the same formula working. Then I got all the way to a point, as you can tell in the title of this video, I got all the way to the point where now I'm using straight water with a very hard pad, and it's coming out the best that I can get out of this car, which is probably 90–95%. So, that was a lot of information. Hopefully, if you have any questions, of course, shoot me an email about that. But we're going to go on the other side. I left the door halfway, and I'm going to show you the steps that I did. And this is something, a quiver that you can pull out every once in a while. I mean, once every 5 years or something, when you get a really weird, crazy paint. And each panel has been different as well. So it's making me nuts. And I spent a lot of time on this car. So hopefully this video can help. I'll stop talking. Let's go on the other side, and I'll show you the step-by-step of how to do extremely soft paint with water and a hard pad. Okay, so here are the steps to actually polish this paint after all the work that I've done here. So what I have is, this is just a spit spray wax, but it's just the bottle. There's nothing in here except water, as you can see. It's clear, clean water. I have a 6-inch yellow Rupes pad on my 21 Rupes polisher. Now, what I've done before this, and I'll show a little B-roll over this, is I take the pad off, I put M205, so I polish on here, and I prime it as if I'm going to use it in a normal fashion. Again, this is nothing about this is normal. So I'm gonna prime the entire pad as if I was gonna use it. Then I take it and I go back to the wash sink and I rinse it all out and I wring it out, but there's still gonna be a little bit of residue left in there. So that's how I would prime the pad. So it's not just It's not just straight take it out of the box and spritz it with water. You don't want to do that. So make sure you go through that little bit of a step, and you're thinking, that's a little weird, Larry. You prime the pad and then you're going to clean it off and squeeze it out. Yeah, but just trust me, that's just a great way to kind of get a little bit of polish. Like, you're going to get not necessarily the actual abrasion part of it, I guess you can call it. It's more of the oils and the lubrication you kind of want to get in there. Okay, so this has already been primed. So what I do is I put this over my shoulder, and now I'm going to work a 2x2 area. And watch how many squirts I'm doing. Just enough to where it's actually dripping just a little bit. And then of course you're going to go 1 or 2 squirts on the pad itself. You're going to start it, you're going to stay very slow, about 1 or 2 on the Rupes. Just enough so there's a slight rotation. See that little rotation right there? 1, 2, 3. And you're going to barely put any pressure on the paint. And you can see a little bit of residue, or I should say, there's some of the oils from when I primed the pad. I'm barely touching it, just enough so that the machine doesn't fall off the car. And I know this is very counterintuitive. It's very not normal. This is strange. A little rotation. Where is it? Right there. Just enough. And that's it. You're really not going to go too crazy. It doesn't take a whole long amount of time, because remember, this is so soft. What's actually happening is the paint is coming off at such an extreme rate, and of course Kevin Brown calls it residue. This residue that's coming off is essentially going in a very weird motion. So if this is the paint and this is the paint is coming off, is getting stuck in the pad, and the pad is pushing it back down on the paint, causing it to scour like we showed before in the polish part. It's all hazy again. You're like, man, so you're basically chasing yourself. It's a circle. So by introducing the water, you have the pad here, the paint again. If you have tons and tons of lubrication, tons of water, as the pad comes down, the residue comes up and shoots the residue out. That's why I'm like all soaked and there's tons of water. And sometimes Kevin also says to use tons of product, mostly tons of polish that acts as a lubrication, meaning you're increasing the surface area so it can hold more. In this case, for me, it seemed that water worked the best. I have no idea why, and I can't predict. I'm trying to give you as much information as possible so you can make that decision. So anyways, that's what's actually happening at a, I don't know, microscopic level, if you will. So I'll do this and just keep going all over the entire car. I don't know, and it seems to be working, but I wanted to at least share that with you because it is very, very weird, and it took me a while to kind of get my brain like, whoa, wait a second, I can't believe I'm doing this. I pulled out every single trick, and this is the one that worked. Anyways, if you have any questions, of course, shoot me an email at larry@ammonyc.com. Kevin Brown, buffdaddy.com. He's opened my eyes to a lot of this very weird, strange, one-off sort of polishing. I'm not telling you to use water. I'm telling you to move with that ratio of water to polish in these weird cases. And sometimes it's just straight water, and sometimes, most of the time, it's just straight polish. And then there's that, mixture in between. So anyways, hopefully you found that helpful. I will see you guys next time. Guys, I just finished up and I wanted to pull the car out in direct sunlight. That picture that I took before, the swirls were going this sort of direction. As you can see, it looks pretty good right now. And I just wanted to remind you guys, here's another shot of the back, pretty cool. Nice clouds out today. I wanted to remind you that when you're working on paint that's that soft, remember that water acted as lubrication to shoot all the, for lack of a better word, the sawdust, if you were, if you're pretending we were working on wood, all that sawdust got shot out. And again, it's just a ratio of how much polish to water, and in this case I used all water, which was pretty incredible. Anyways, I hope you guys find this as interesting as I did, and here's the end product. Looks pretty good. All right, thanks guys, bye.